plants give back. They're giving back to the health of our environment and to the health of people. They're part of our lives in every aspect of our lives. The air we breathe, the water we drink, the food we eat. It's all about plants. The U.S. Botanic Garden is located on the National Mall near the U.S. Capitol. At the Botanic Garden, we're really trying to inspire people about plants and why plants are important, but also to get them interested in gardening sustainably and also in living more sustainably through plants. We can weave that into just about everything we do.
The U.S. Botanic Garden is a living plant museum. Our intent is to represent plants to the American people and to the world, and our hope is that we help people understand that plants are not optional. They are the basis of our food supply, they are the basis of our culture, and without plants, we would not be able to exist.
And what do you think those pods are?
Isn't that where chocolate comes from?
You're right. You're right. Did you guys think that chocolate actually comes from a tree?
No.
No? They're gonna take those pods and they're gonna split them open. And on the inside, that's where you're gonna see the 20 to 60 cocoa beans or chocolate beans.
Hopefully, no matter what room you go through in the conservatory, when you walk in the room, you'll just say, aha, I didn't know that. This is the vessel fern, and this is one of the original plants.
Wow. So some part of this is from 1842.
It is, because it's divided, and so it's actually the same genetic material.
Wow, that's really cool. I love stuff like that.
Yeah. It has beautiful fronds.
The conservatory presents different environments for people to appreciate, different kinds of plants, different kinds of climates, and the point here is that there are many different kinds of ecosystems on Earth. I'd like to tell you about this plant here. It's timber bamboo, and go ahead and give it a touch there.
Whoa!
It's nice and smooth.
It's
Doesn't
so
it feel
soft.
great?
It's like, it's glazed.
And it grows in the tropics.
It's really cool.
We also like to highlight medicinal plants and why they're valuable from a therapeutic and medicinal standpoint. It's very important to sustainably harvest medicinal plants and any kind of plants so that they are there to continue to reproduce and be there for future generations as well.
All the plants growing in here are important in medicine. And one of the ones that I'd love to point out is this Madagascar periwinkle. This plant contains alkaloids vincristine and vinblastine, which are very important in treating childhood leukemia and Hodgkin's disease.
Wow.
So it actually makes it one of the most important medicinal plants in the world. And this is really an interesting plant. It's called the happy tree. And two scientists discovered that it has anti-cancer properties in extracts from the leaves. And so as research continued, they've been able to make an over-the-counter drug, which is now for sale and is saving thousands of lives.
Wow. The U.S. Botanic Garden has many endangered species in its collections. One of the endangered plants we feature in the conservatory is Welwitschia, and it's an interesting plant because it's the only species in the genus, the only genus in the family, and the only family in the order. It has 2 leaves that grow for the entire length of its life, and the plant itself can live to be more than 1,000 years old.
The National Garden is our recent addition to the U.S. Botanic Garden, and it is a fabulous outdoor living laboratory. It is totally focused on mid-Atlantic native plants. They are arranged in 2 different environments where you would see them in nature, whether it's the Piedmont, rocky, clay soils, or the coastal plain with sandy acid soils. That's significant because when you go home and when you're planting a garden, you do need to think about the soil and where the plants come from, the microclimates, and the kinds of things that you can learn from nature. Our best gardens do mimic nature.
We like to plan properly and have a plant go into a place that can stay there without a lot of input from us. Proper garden planning really reduces the use of water and other inputs. Native plants have been around in a particular region for a very long time, and so along with them have come a lot of other creatures that depend on them. Certain native plants are very important larval hosts for all kinds of insects, not just beautiful butterflies, but all kinds of insects that are then eaten by birds or larger creatures, and so they're really plugged into the food web. And adding native plants back into your garden helps sort of shift the balance back to the positive.
I hope that when you walk through the regional garden, what you might see is a garden of native plants in a naturalistic setting that is powerfully beautiful.
The National Garden has a native plant regional garden at its heart, but it also includes a butterfly garden and a rose garden. People think of roses as needing a lot of pampering, and that includes chemical application. Well, we don't take that approach. All areas of that garden are treated organically. We use organic fertilizers. We don't spray. We release beneficial insects for control. And I think most critically, when we have a plant that just doesn't function here, it's consistently getting fungal diseases or whatnot, we remove it. You can imagine a garden of our size ends up with a lot of organic matter, and we actually have a contract with a company that does composting of things for us, and in other cases, we simply mulch in place.
I'm taking composted material, green material from Bartholdi Park, one of our beds, and we're putting it into our first bin. It'll usually stay into this first bin a year, maybe even a little bit longer, until we can continually turn it. After we continually turn it, it goes to this stage here in the next bin, and then from this bin we go into the third bin as a finished product. We call that our black gold. Then we'll take it from this bin and go put it into the hole that we've been working on.
We have a production facility which is so essential to this botanic garden because it's where we grow a lot of our plants that we bring up here so that when the visitors see them, they're in top condition. We have over 2 acres of greenhouses, and each of the individual greenhouses has a unique environment, which allows us to grow plants from all over the world that have different requirements.
And we have plenty of Venus flytraps. Good, good. Oh, we got a fly, so he must have landed in there and hit these trigger hairs on the inside, and that's what makes it close. On a warm day, a healthy trap can close in about 1/10 of a second.
A priority at the production facility is to weave sustainability in everything we're doing there. The volunteers and the staff use really advanced cultural practices to ensure that our plants are of the highest quality. They work together to practice organic gardening with brushing and scrubbing and detailing of the plants so that they're incredibly healthy, but they are done and grown sustainably without toxic chemicals. We also do a lot of our artistic and creative work as well as a lot of the scientific work. We're doing sustainable work there so that we can grow incredibly healthy, beautiful plants, and we can really further refine the science and art of horticulture. One of the areas of the Botanic Garden that has a lot of interest at the moment is the area called the Bartholdi Park Gardens. And we are creating these gardens now as a sustainable site pilot project.
The Sustainable Sites Initiative attempts to mimic nature. We try to mimic nature in planting appropriate plants, capturing water, reducing irrigation, using the soil that's on site, looking at all materials that are brought on and used and created, and then thinking about human interaction and how humans can use the site. We hope to be certified as a sustainable site and use the park to show homeowners and landscape architects and contractors things they can do in their businesses and in their home. So again, we're always trying to teach the public.
It's really important to educate people about plants and the connection to plants to ensure their survival. We're an amazing resource here at the United States Botanic Garden for everybody, but especially for children. With our hands-on plant science workshop, the children looked at soil testing, pollen under the microscope and the beauty of pollen, nectar, that flowers have different nectar content, and then how seeds travel.
All right, so you can name how seeds get around. We have 4 ways that we know, but, okay, Jameer?
By air.
Okay, so they can travel in the air by the wind.
Just physically being here, you can see the kids benefit. I mean, it's just, they relax, they open up, and I think that their sense of curiosity is just reawakened. Kids would come over and they'd actually physically pull you, and they'd say, you've got to see this. Once it starts, I think their sense of scientific inquiry and awe just keeps getting better and better. And so they really learn about how plants work. And once you realize how plants work and the magic of it, you realize the interdependence between us and plants and how we can't live without each other.
It looks like a branch with little tiny orange things on it.
If the children that come here for our programs leave caring just even about one more plant, I like to think of them as ambassadors for not only the Botanic Gardens, but for the environment. They're our next generation.
We're really into exciting education, and we live for people to come here and get inspired about plants and take home something that they've learned here.
I want them to go home and think about pouring through plant catalogs and making their properties into something that they can be proud of, not only because it looks great, but because it functions and it really fulfills them on every level.
We're demonstrating here in the middle of the hot cement city with no relief and no nature that if you plant a sustainable garden, essentially if you build it, they will come. Sustainable landscape cleans the water, it cleans the air. The garden is buzzing and humming with life. It's a healthy garden. It's part of the dynamic of the healthy environment.
Plants are not optional, and I think the more people learn about the basic functions that they fulfill in ecology, in the food web, the more you have to appreciate them way beyond their beauty or way beyond just the foods that we eat. It's the food that everything eats. It's the basis for all life. When we protect plants, we protect insects, birds, animals, and ourselves.